I've been offered so much more. Listen, when I graduated from when I graduated from law school, a law firm flew me and my first wife to San Diego. The boys was like 2 years old, Jelani and Jaleel. And they showed us their firm and let us stay there. And they said, you can stay here 5 more days. And we went to Sea World or whatever was down there in San Diego. And I said no to that law firm. And at the meeting with the partners, when I said no, they were going to pay me $200,000 a year. Plus, I had this incentive to make 12% of what I brought in the door. Eat what you kill, all the kind of stuff. I was doing all the numbers. So that's more. Just the base salary was more than merit. But I was leaving the legislature and I was trying to figure out what else. And I told them something. And this guy reminded me of this when I was locked up in prison. One of the partners in the firm, I kept in touch with him. He said that your speech in our office that day was masterful. So right, I said, I can't live in San Diego. I said, I really love this place. It's the greatest. I mean, we are enjoying it. But I'm a Detroiter. And it's something calling me in that city to do in that city. Yeah. I can't leave those people. He sent that to me in prison.
Did he really?
Yeah. He said, remember, the people got your back and all this kind of stuff. He said, these were the words you said. I looked at that. I said, I was crazy in the fuck. Man, what was wrong with me, man? I should have, these people tripping. Because I could tell you, Carlita, after that moment, she was mad at me. Listen, she was mad at me from then on. She wanted to move to San Diego so bad. I said, Lord have mercy. So
the only reason Rita's shaking her head is because we just had this conversation the other day. And we were flying back from Miami because it was 80 degrees down there. And Rita said, she's trying to convince me to leave and go to Miami, like 100% of the time. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so let me just share this story.
Uh-oh. I'm the wrong person.
No. I'm
the wrong
You
person.
good, because I got to give you some credit. And I always said that if I ever met you, I was going to give you this credit. And I forgot last time. How old were we when I got carjacked? We were newly married. We got married in 2004.
It was probably a year or 2 after that.
Whatever it was, Kwame was still in office, right? And there was all of this thing about police response times and stuff like that. I got set up by a guy because I used to live on Green Lawn between Norfolk and Chippewa, between 8 Mile and 7 Mile, Livernois and Wyoming.
Yep, exactly.
I got set up by some guys. I got carjacked and robbed. They didn't have no mask on, but I knew them. I grew up with them. So I was thinking to myself, okay, well, I'm a dead man because there's no way you're going to let me know what you look like and then let me live to tell a story about it, right? But anyways, long story short, I got away. They tried to kill me. I got away or whatever. And as soon as I called the police, it seemed like within 2 or 3 minutes, they were scouring everything. They were everywhere. And I was like, Kwame got this city on lock. Like, the police is on everywhere. They on top of things. Like, I was like, I knew I should have been under duress, but I was, seriously impressed just by the response and the services. And I always felt like you never got the credit that you deserved as far as how it was that you managed the city, even in a time where obviously in hindsight, we know 2008 came and it was the housing crisis and Detroit got hit the most because it was all the layoffs and everything like that, right? But the only reason I mention that story is because I had this sentiment back then that I still have now. And I was like, well, if I leave, right, because I was making a lot of money, I was a tax-paying citizen, I was a good dude, I wasn't a criminal, none of that. And I always had this sentiment and I said, if I leave and people like me leave, it becomes a brain drain and it takes away from, I got educated here. I went to Cass Tech. I wound up going to Wayne State, all of these different things. So I take all of the resources in order to be able to become the guy that I am. And then I leave and I take my talents to somewhere else where I can pay the taxes and contribute to that base. And I kind of got the same sentiment now because I love this city. I love having my office down here and everything like that. And Rita's like, but listen, look at this weather. Anton, forget all of that. Look at the weather. And so we have that argument, not an argument, but we have that discussion on a regular basis. And so I just split my time. That's how I compromise. I just split my time. You love the city. You still come back and all of this other type of stuff. It's a lot of people here that still love you. I mean, when I did the last interviews, people were like, oh, Anton, that's the guy. That's my guy or whatever, so on and so forth. You moving, to different spaces and different states or whatever, do you ever actually miss, like honestly, do you ever miss the city in a general sense, or are you like, you know what, I'm tired?
I miss the city a lot. Um,
Really?
I miss my part of the city, and let me tell you what I mean by that. I don't miss the politics. I don't miss the job. I don't miss any of that. But what people got to understand, I'm 52 years old. The first 40 years was here.
You still young.
Yeah, and so I miss some of the restaurants. I miss the people.
Yeah.
I miss my family. I miss some of the folks I grew up with. I miss the drive here.
Yeah.
Atlanta, when I leave my house and I say I'm going to go downtown, it takes me an hour to get there.
Yeah.
I miss being able to take 5 different streets to get one place.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I miss the ease of the commute. I miss the Detroit flavor.
Yeah.
And I know people in Detroit starting to miss the Detroit flavor too. But I mean, this is a place that I always. It's my hometown. I went to Cass Tech, Fairbanks Elementary. Pelham Middle School.
Well, we went to the old Cass.
We went to the old Cass Tech.
And
and
under
so-
his watch, we had Mumford. We had new schools that was built. Had the new Cass Tech that you don't never get credit for. A lot of things
Campus
happened.
Martius Park was mentioned as one of the best parks in the country or something. One of the
The Riverwalk was
said,
happening
okay,
under your
Kwame.
watch. But he don't get credit for that,
Riverwalk,
right?
Yeah, all that. Yeah.
He don't get credit for the new schools that was being built and none of that. You don't get that.
I think what happened is what happens when there's a strategy. And the strategy wasn't just to get Kwame out of the office. It was to kill him.
Yeah.
Because the idea that gave birth to Kwame being mayor is more powerful than Kwame being mayor.
Yeah.
And let me explain that. That somebody from your neighborhood and mine could grow up in this city, go to these public schools, and then the city would put their trust and hope and faith in this person to be their mayor, their leader, and he could be there for a generation and transform the community because he had the business acumen and the political acumen to do it. That idea is scary.
Yeah.
Because that means you're going to have a person, Coleman Young's thing was unbought, unbossed. And when you have a person who's unbought and unbossed in that particular thing, it scares people that who don't believe they're included in that family conversation.
Yeah.
And so right now, the city, everybody talks about how open it is and how wonderful it is and how great it is. And I watch the news. I've been here and I've been watching the news. And nothing's the mayor's fault. I saw this. It's great.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this is so. I could have been here forever.
Yeah.
Every shooting, all the shootings, everybody's still smashing grabs, all this kind of stuff going on. There's absolutely nobody that goes to the city and even get a comment. I said, this is amazing.
It's way
but people
different.
don't understand the subtle mind manipulation that was there. I'm talking about every day on the news in this city for 7 years.
Yeah.